Hello viewers and welcome to more action on F1 2020. Here I am driving as the Renault of Daniel Ricciardo at Hungary. As we've got Hungary this weekend, I thought it was time to revisit the Hungaroring and take it for a spin. Now of all these tracks, I don't necessarily run them all regularly, but when you've practiced them in the past, they do come back to you relatively quickly. So I did a race in a McLaren and then thought, well, let's jump out and do a race in a Renault as well. Give some more feedback on the game. Now, I didn't do too much pre-launch. I think when I look at Formula One these days, I know I'm sort of not the primary. I don't feel like I'm the primary source on this now. I feel like there is sort of the chosen influencers. The videos we make on Formula One don't get the reach they used to get because there's no support behind us to promote our content in any way. And there's so many esport players out there for perfect play that you say to yourself, well, even if I could get to within a second or so a lap, it's still, we're not going to compete with the best in the world. But then I think, I've been doing this for many years. Why not just run my own opinions on these things? And hence we have our detailed breakdown in our review with Tim, and it's good because he's been playing every single F1 game forever. For me, he knows I'm the sort of, dare I say it, the brainless racing driver muscle that just goes round and round and round and pounds into lap times. So, between us, we know what a good game is all about. There is one disclaimer on this video. As it turned out that in my very early preview, I mentioned I couldn't put the car where I wanted to put it on apexes. Seems to be sorted, but it seems like it was a driver issue on my Thrustmaster wheel in some way. I updated the driver and everything was sorted, so there may have just been an issue on my wheel that was also causing a problem at the time, or it might have had something to do with the control pad being attached to the PC as well. I don't know, but either way, I'm playing the PlayStation 4 version here, running on a standard PS4, and it looks fabulous. I would say this is one of the top PlayStation 4 racing games in terms of the way it looks and plays. When you're playing something like Assetto Corsa Competizione, and you come to this afterwards, it's almost like a different system. It's so different to play on. It really is. It's a world apart in terms of smoothness and the way it looks. And again, as I often say it, but I really look forward to the next generation. Grand Prix, obviously Hungaroring this weekend, and as I'm racing around here, this is a 25% race, so I wanted to just have a ramble while I'm talking to you guys. Hungaroring this weekend. Obviously, Mercedes are the strongest car, they always are. But let's look at everybody else. Red Bull could have a much stronger run this weekend. I think that the Renault teams in general, this could be, providing their chassis are good, this is a good track for them. It just reels in the Mercedes a bit, if you like. It's always a bit of a leveler, this track. This track classically actually depends a lot more on car setup than a lot of tracks. It's very twisty, and getting that car set up right to stretch out your tyres, and get into that rhythm really is important here, getting into that rhythm. So qualifying, as with all tracks, is important. It's hard to overtake here. I don't know how much easier DRS is going to make it this year. I mean, DRS really varies course to course, doesn't it? As to how it helps you get down that main straight. But one thing I was learning here is just racing against Lando is I'm quite a bit quicker than Lando. I'm not, without doing a lunge and bashing him off the course, which is what I wasn't looking to do. It was very difficult to, make a move that wasn't going to end in some kind of contact in some way. And I think that around much of the course, unless there's an opportunity, it's really about staying as close as you can on this final corner in the dirty air, and then just giving it everything down the straight with DRS and power and everything you can. Of course, they'll be using the power deployment as well and going for that late braking, which is what Daniel's very good at. But the car wasn't running so well with the increased fuel and these tyres at this stage, so I had to just sort of bide my time, wait until the pit stops and then see if I could go for it. I was really enjoying this. Now you're seeing it from, it was rather tricky to drive from this. Bear in mind I'm not using triple screens, so I'm just using a big monitor zoomed in. So I've really not got a lot of view of the road. It took a bit of time to get adapted to this, because that's sort of the field of view you'd use for triple screens rather than a single screen. So in that sense, it was a bit more tricky to get used to. I enjoy the circuit though. It's technical, it's flowing, it's committed. There's apexes like this where you can get on the power up right in the middle of the corner, providing you're in the right place. Good braking points. You know, really you just need a nice flow and getting on the power nice and smoothly on the exits. Very critical. Really enjoying this. You know, I'd like to run more Formula One videos on the channel. And do let me know if it's something you'd like to see or not like to see. I'm not running this one as a proper Formula One video. I'm just sort of have it as a bit of background chat. But do let me know if you'd like to see it, or a bit of F1 career. Do let me know. I'm trying to figure out at the moment what we're going to be doing in terms of content, what I'm going to be doing in terms of content on the channel. I'm going to be changing up the content, doing more content than ever before in terms of video, less content from myself in particular in terms of written content. I'm feeling now that we really got to work on the video, so I just want to get involved in this. Obviously in the summer I'll be doing a lot of rally content as well, hopefully the WRC rally, and I'll be working on that, and that's always really popular, so I'll be running a fair bit of that, and very challenging as well. Looking forward to the new stages in WRC 9. Going to be looking at more of the underrated titles and retrospectives and retro reviews and stuff like that I enjoyed doing in the past. I'm going to do them again, and I'm going to do more of what I want to do, whether it makes views or it doesn't make views. I just want to make good content that I enjoy, and I hope you guys enjoy as well. Lando is not letting me past. Get out of the way, Lando. And still trying to get past. Does he pit this time? No, he's not pitting this time. And he's got just enough power to off that final corner, just enough, you know, to get down that straight. And you know, by the time you close on him, there's just not enough. A little look then, didn't I? But that was late braking. I just, you know, kind of messed myself up a bit. Really, it's half-hearted. So it's just one of those races where you need to be patient. It's a long race, and it is a long race as well. You know, getting cramp in the old brake foot. You know, for me, I mean, I had run this race twice. I did it in the McLaren. I had a cracking race in the McLaren, and turned out the camera wasn't working, and I had to run the whole thing again. But you will see the other race from replay perspectives, probably included in our F1 chat. And you know, do send us a few questions on the F1 chat on the day. It'd be great to have more of your questions and build that and see how it goes. Again, it's all a trial and error, you know, learning it, developing it over time, and seeing what works best. But yeah, Formula One this weekend. I hope that we see a bit more. As I say, I hope that McLaren and Renault are able to bring a bit more to the table. I hope that Red Bull are able to compete with Mercedes a bit more. But this Mercedes car is very dominant this year. It's even more dominant than I think it's been for a long time. And so it's really, as ever, it's going to be, those are the guys to beat. And I can't see anyone beating Mercedes all season at the moment. I really can't. But I would love to be wrong. I would love to see someone else win. One thing I do like on F1 2020 though is the cloud simulation. As clouds move over the circuit, it really gives the circuit a life in terms of lighting, look and feel. It makes you feel like a race covers a period of time, and as the lighting changes, it's really nicely, subtly done. Gives it a very authentic vibe. I still look at this sometimes and sort of it amazes me where we've been and where we're going. I still can't get enough of it, and I think to myself, you know, in a few years' time we're going to have VR on F1 games, no doubt. At some point, it's got to happen at some point, surely, and that's going to take it forward again. Just another element of getting closer and closer to real life. Very exciting. So looking forward to the race this weekend. I hope Ferrari can just sort themselves out, really. You know, they really need a calm, collected, just go round and round, get some data, find out what's wrong with the car, and just build on it. Get yourself in a good position for Silverstone in 2 weeks' time, and imagine your season starts there. That's pretty much all they can do. Charles has learned a lot from it. Obviously, Vettel's going to be potentially going to Aston Martin, Racing Point, and that means Sergio Perez is out. what does that mean for Sergio? Well, I'm going to wait and see. I mean, problem is with a driver is, on the one hand, you say, well, Vettel's not been doing very well, has he? He had a bad season in 2014 when Daniel Ricciardo came in, comparatively speaking. He hasn't really had a great couple of years at Ferrari. He's had a lot of mistakes, hasn't he? So many mistakes and unforced errors. But, sometimes that happens a lot when a driver is unhappy at a team, when a driver is not supported, when a driver is under pressure. Negative pressure and a car not working for a driver are a really bad combination. A driver needs to feel good. He needs to feel confident. He needs to feel like he can, walk over the opposition. He needs to go out there feeling strong as a driver, And I feel that people don't always realise just how much your mental capacity ties into your ability in terms of consistency, maximising everything a car has, feeling fluid and one with a car. There's nothing worse than driving round and saying, do you know what, the car doesn't feel right, and wondering if it's your fault or the car's fault. But when they do fix the car, and they do, and you say, oh no, that's it now, I can drive, I can be quick, I just wasn't feeling it right. And that's why I always know my baseline when I'm reviewing these games. I always know that feels right or that doesn't feel right. But in terms of feeling, F1 2020 has moved forward quite a bit. Strange, when I played the early build, I thought it was subtle improvements here and there. The audio was definitely better for me this time. But in general, there's a bit more balance to it all. And I need to do more testing with various assists on and off. And, I'll check all that in the next sort of few weeks. Maybe I'll make videos. I probably will make videos on it because I may as well just record it if I'm going to, test these things out. But I've got some tests still to run on it. And I think maybe then we'll be in a good position to cover F1 2021 in more detail as well, if we're allowed, of course. So I think, in terms of improvements, David, who's been working on the handling for the last few years, we've been on a long journey, haven't we, from F1 2015, or even F1 2014 when there was a big change. I mean, for me, F1 2013 was probably a game I had the most enjoyment on. But I enjoyed all the F1 games to an extent, but the last few, not so much. I haven't felt the cars, whereas I feel here there's definitely an improvement, but there's still work to do. Work to do in terms of tyre wear and the feeling of the tyres. There's still an aspect where you need to know that the tyres aren't working rather than feel that the tyres aren't working to an extent. So this is the thing about gamers. A game can handle terribly, but there will always be a gamer who's perfect at it. And it depends on how they approach it. Racing drivers are approaching things a lot through feel and understanding and knowledge and experience. But a gamer will approach something because they know how the game works. They will just do what the game needs them to do. They will brake there because they know the game requires it. So it's a completely different mindset in terms of racing environment. But, like you say, it's also interesting as well what a gamer can bring to real car development. And we've seen that over the past few years as well. I'd be really interested to know how it's gone at teams like Mercedes or Red Bull with their esport drivers, and whether they've managed to make some valuable input, a bit like McLaren, who clearly have. And they had their world's fastest gamer, and they've developed a strong esports arm, which no doubt has helped some of their testing. These guys are machines when it comes to metronomic lap times. So I would like to test this more. I might speak to a couple of the esport gamers just to help me with setups. I've never been great when it comes to setups. I'm more of a driver. Set the car up, tell me what it's going to do, or don't, up to you. And then that way I will jump in and I'll get a feel for it, and then I'll know how to, within reason, know how to maximise it. When you're doing a video like this, I mean, I have to sort of knock these together, hope I don't crash, bag a recording really. It's not always me pushing to the limit all the time. I'd need to do, as I say, this was first race in a Renault, first race in McLaren. You do a few drives here and there, you make it look sensible enough, you hit the bumpy bits on the curbs, and you say, well, that's it, job done, and it looks good. And I do like these over the shoulder views. I think they add a bit more, and the multicams always work on the channel. But if you're practicing hardcore, which I won't, because there's really no point, but maybe I'll do sort of a fun esport race. Having said that, you know, if you're watching and you do like the content on the channel, do become a YouTube member or support our Patreon. I can't stress enough how much that helps what we do here, especially with various expenses behind the scenes. It really is a big help to us. And if you'd like to contribute to the channel or to written content or video content, do let me know. Do contact us. It's always a help to find people who are sort of passionate about certain areas of motorsport as well, because I don't cover everything. There are areas where, like drifting, we have Ed who covers drifting. I can't do drifting, it's not my bag, and that's why I have Ed doing it. And if there's areas, bike games or whatever, where you say, you know, I like that area, or I'd like to do some Formula One, you know, let us know. You know, let me know. You know, it's be good to get more people together and sort of make a sort of Top Gear team out of it all. It's something I've always wanted to do. But it's funny, when you run a channel like this, you don't have to ask for it, really. So if you are out there and you think, I'd like to help Alan out, then that would be great, because it would be great to have some more involvement, just with people getting involved. Passion project, really. That's what this is all about, and that's why I enjoy it. We're never going to be big when it comes to F1 YouTube. We're never going to be, you know, a massive YouTuber in that way. But I'm always going to give you my opinion. And I'm going to do the odd blog as well. I used to do blogs years ago, so looking at the stuff I used to do years ago and trying to rediscover what got me into doing YouTube and what made the channel popular in the first place. And I just think people want frank, honest opinions, really, about new games, and if that means that games company relationships can get a little bit tense, and so be it, you know. But I think we've always tried to do our bit. And I'll just continue to do that in terms of general feedback. So yeah, this is me just continuing on my journey. Obviously I managed to overtake Lando in the pit stops, and now it's been a case of just trying and optimize my lap times a bit, and, you know, close on Alex Albon in front. He had fortunately I just got locked behind Lando for too long, and the gap was just a bit big. I am closing gradually. What are we at? 4.2 seconds. And I am cutting it down. I think it was about 7 seconds originally. So we are gaining ever so slightly, but, you know, it's going to take some time. The thing about F1 is it's all about finding a difficulty that suits you depending on where you are. If you put it on the highest setting, everybody will be gone down the road and you'll be in last place and just getting nowhere. If you put it too easy, you'll be in first place all on your own, and you'll be overtaking Mercedes down the straight like they're nothing, basically, and that just feels rubbish as well. So I like to find a sort of balance around sort of 75, 80 in terms of various difficulties on races that just give me a nice enough balance where I can race and have fun, but not necessarily feel it's impossible. And I think when you go higher above that, you need actual practice, and I haven't got time to do that at the moment. But I would like to run a bit more content on the channel, and I would like to do, like I say, more F1, and also we've got all the rally in the summer, and there's quite a few racing games coming up. I'm going to talk about those in another video, and I'm also looking at running video content on your comments as well, to rather than just replying to your comments in written form. You know, it's kind of something that's always been put to me, that I'm a bit blunt in my responses to people, my replies. Maybe I'm a bit blunter than I in written form, I suppose, because just I'm dealing with so many all the time, and there are so many comments that sometimes do feel a little bit dumb, and you're like, I've answered this question 100 times already. And you just, sometimes I feel sometimes it sounds a bit blunt. So I thought, well, why don't I answer some of these questions in video form? So I am going to be looking at answering some of your questions in video form and seeing how they turn out, basically. Now, where are we now? lap 15, so 3 laps to go. I could see Alex in front, and it's funny, you know, sometimes when you get to this point, you sort of zone out. So there was a lap here where I just sort of zoned out. I did a really good lap when I put my new tyres on, and then I did something like a best final sector somewhere, and I am attacking the track more. I mean, I'm definitely going quicker and quicker and quicker now, but yeah, it's a shame actually. If I'd been on soft tyres, we'd have cut it down, but you see I'm braking a bit late there. I'm testing things out, you know, how late can I brake, you know. This corner is actually the most tricky corner on the whole lap. It's a strange apex. It's all floating apex, as I call it, where you carry speed in, you have to lift and then gently accelerate on the apex, otherwise you just fly completely off the runoff. It doesn't harm you if you go off the runoff, but you do lose some traction. A lot of bumps out there, so it's just not good for you. You lose a lot of time. So you don't, I say a lot of time, you lose a little bit of time. But we are closing on Alex, so we've got it down to, we've got 2.3, 2.4 seconds. And my steering wheel's starting to come off. I must find the fixing screw for my steering wheel. So whenever you see me leaning forward, it's because my wheel is coming off the stand. But and the Thrustmaster display on there looks great, doesn't it? It just adds so much having irrelevant numbers on there. I love that. I don't even know what the numbers will mean. I really should look into it at some point. The lights, you'll notice, are covered with, I've actually put greaseproof paper across the lights. Now, it's something that if you've ever watched the Singapore Grand Prix, the drivers have complained about this, is that the LEDs are too bright. LEDs in bright sunshine, fine. LEDs in a dark environment in your face, not fine, or a dark environment in general, not fine. And in this case, the minimum light setting is still way too bright for me. It's uncomfortably bright, so that's why I use that on there, and it makes all the difference. But it makes it look authentic. You can't remove the wheel in Formula 1, the hands, unfortunately, but you can lock it in position. It doesn't look too bad on these cars. It looks a bit odd on the classic cars. I kind of wish you could remove the wheel and hands entirely on the classic cars, but on the modern cars you can't. Though I do need to investigate if you can still use full HUD features, because it attaches the HUD features. Obviously they're not there, they're on the wheel, so I've not got the I've had to alter the field of view vertically a bit lower so I can see the overtake and the various features on the wheel, whereas ordinarily it's just nicer to have them on the HUD. I'm not using the virtual mirror in these races. It would be more helpful if I was on the PC version. I would be, but I'm just trying to sort of maintain frame rate, and I'm not certain how the PlayStation 4 handles the virtual mirror, but it is a great addition. And the fact that you've got a halo in the way now really doesn't make much difference. As we see a car makes a mistake there, bit naughty. I just kind of floored it there, but I didn't really slow down for that one. I just sort of see if we can gain on him. But I just can't. As you can see, I'm not hanging around. I'm trying to give it everything to catch him. And, just not enough time. Not enough time to catch Alex at this stage. Bearing in mind that obviously your tyres are always wearing as well. And you're trying to control your various wheel spin. So yeah, I'll be doing assists on, assists off, various races, recording various races in the weeks and months ahead, and producing a whole range of content. We're going to be looking at some Switch games as well. Nintendo Switch has turned into quite a good handheld for racing gamers, quite a decent little handheld, and it's a nice little console actually. I think when I first saw it I wasn't as keen on it as I am now, so I do play that a fair bit, and I'm going to be producing more content on that. Do tune in this weekend, of course. Like I say, we'll be having our podcast with myself and Tim, taking a look at the Hungarian Grand Prix, giving you our feedback and thoughts on that. And then, of course, we've got Great Britain coming up soon after as well. Looking forward to that as well. Hope you've enjoyed this little random chat today. Just a bit of Radio Allen, really. A bit of Radio Allen to get you through the week while a bit of racing goes on in the background. Me just doing what I do when I have the time. And if you enjoy this and you like the viewpoint, the style and the action, do let me know. I'm considering live streaming races like this. If you guys would be interested in a live stream over the shoulder cam set up like this, I think it might work well. But yeah, coming around the final corner, unable to make the difference, but gave it what I could in that one. And that's it from me for now, viewers. I'll leave you with the podium, and there'll be more from me very soon.
There'll be smiles back at the factory after that one. A great race and a real team performance to take victory here in Hungary. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Hello viewers, well thanks for watching the video today. Do like and subscribe, it supports what we do. Do become a YouTube member. YouTube Patreon supports all of our content you see on the channel, and of course lots of gaming from retro to modern games. I love it all in terms of racing action. So click on one of the two videos just there to find out more.